Roger Ver, who's sort of the earliest known and one of the most prolific angel investors. He was actually at our initial meeting of Bid Angels. He is a Bid Angel, and he's been in back of, like, blockchain, a number of other top success stories. He made a bet for anybody who would take it about 2.5 years ago, and he said, "I am going to bet anybody who will have this bet 1,000 Bitcoins that Bitcoin will outperform the stock market, gold and silver by 100x in the next 24 months. Nobody took that bet, and he lost it. It took 26 months for it to beat all three. And he decided, because he did technically lose it, that he would pay someone off, and he paid 1,000 Bitcoins, which was $1 million at that point, to, I think it was the Electronic Freedom Foundation. So, yeah, so. Yeah. FEE, yeah. Yep. Obviously, one of the reasons why some people say they're going to buy Bitcoins but not invest in Bitcoin companies is that whole Mt. Gox management issue. What is the best reason, other than trying to sort of like have a surety that the infrastructure will move forward, that you'd be investing in companies versus just Bitcoin itself?
So if I can give Brock Pierce's answer, if he were here, Brock would say that if you're an experienced investor and that you know what you're doing and you're holding Bitcoin, you have a moral obligation to go and invest in the infrastructure that actually is going to make it happen. And so, similar to what Matt described earlier, he said 2/3 of their holdings is in Bitcoin and they put 1/3 into the companies. Similarly, I try to take 50% of what I hold in Bitcoin and invest the other 50% back into the ecosystem. And that's how I think it should be. This is only going to work if we reinvest into the ecosystem. And I'm not suggesting this if you're a novice, but if you're an experienced investor, you really ought to be building the infrastructure. And we still have, this isn't charity, this is one of the underlying things for Bid Angels, is we evaluate, will this project outperform Bitcoin? And that's a really hard bar. Even if you make some general assumption like 10x in 12 or 24 months, that's a really high bar. And that's why we found 12 projects out of 200. It's 5% of those that apply. And so it's not, I'm not talking about charity, but we ought to be reinvesting in the infrastructure when it makes sense and building out things. And there are a few cases where you can outperform Bitcoin if you get in early enough into an investment. And Mastercoin ended up being one of those, outperformed it by 5 or 10x because of how low the valuation was when the project first started. And so, yeah, I would say you have to.
So I would also, that's sort of a segue into this whole Bitcoin 2.0 era, where I would say, besides just the decentralized applications and protocols, there are also some instances where new altcoins can get very rapid 10x, 50x, 100x returns, but there have been other ones that have failed. So when you're looking at, say, a new system, whether it's an altcoin or a protocol, what do you look for to make sure that it's not just a pump and dump like a small cap stock? Anybody?
Yeah, I think I might take that.